Oh, hello. Welcome once again to Denton's Tales. This time, I'd like to say a few words about acting. Yes, acting, because that is what I used to do, and I did it very well. Said he, quite unashamedly, blowing his own trumpet. Well, I mean, if I don't, who will? Anyway, now, I was what I would consider a proper actor, darling. Yes, I trod the boards, as we used to say. I was a stage actor. My art went back for centuries. There's a difference, you see, between a stage actor and one who is exclusively a movie or television performer, you might say. Stage actors perform on what we used to call the legitimate stage, projecting their voices throughout a large auditorium, even a stage whisper, fully audible in the largest theatre, with big gestures, like myself. That was what I did. And then there are television and movie actors who can, well, then just mumble, and they make just tiny gestures, And of course, that's fine, because there's a ruddy great camera and a microphone shoved right up in front of their face. The tiniest little twitch, well, that's going to be instantly seen, whereas if you did the same thing on the stage, nobody's even going to notice it. You see, even then, with a microphone, right up in front of them, I often have to put subtitles on, because between their mumbling natural delivery and their very poor diction and the faintest idea of what they're on about. So, diction seems to be an almost unknown quantity in modern TV drama, I'm sorry to say. I never need subtitles in old movies. The golden age of Hollywood, you don't need subtitles and hear everything they say. Same with the TV shows from the 60s. Never a problem. But stage acting has some pitfalls because, you see, it's live. It isn't pre-recorded. It's happening right then and there before your very eyes. And therein lies the danger. If something goes gloriously pear-shaped, well, there's nothing you can do about it, Ducky, because everybody has already seen it, and, well, they can't unsee it. And that's little more than a minor inconvenience in the TV studio, since they just reshoot the scene, and once faux pas, and that's actual French, well, it remains a secret from your adoring fans who think you're absolutely perfect, even if you did have to shoot the scene 30 times before you got the damn thing right. There are so many things that can make a right dog's breakfast of a carefully rehearsed stage production. Oh, yeah. Wind, for example. Oh, yes, wind. And I don't mean a windy day outside the theatre blowing the trees to and fro. No, I mean the other kind. Yes, that. Somebody blows off on stage and, well, if they do it at the wrong moment, that can kipper an entire scene. Take Hamlet. Oh, Hamlet. The ultimate tragedy. The play is at an end. Hamlet, Laertes, the king and the queen, they're all lying dead. You can't move anywhere without tripping over a dead body. Horatio speaks those classic lines. Now cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. And a dry eye in the audience. Total silence. You can hear a pin drop. Oh, yes. That actually happened to me on one occasion, yes. It was quite noticeable, shall we say. It was delivered double forte with considerable gusto, but of course I handled it perfectly. Oh, it was awfully quick, you see. And I just turned to the person nearest to me and I said, do you mind, lay off the beans before you come to work? That's called passing the buck. There was a scene being recorded at Pinewood Studios in London several decades ago, and an actor blew off rather impressively. And the leading lady said, "Oh, I can't work with you doing that. It's disgusting." He said, "Well, it's perfectly natural. Everybody does it. Rudolph Valentino used to blow off on set all the time." Well, her reply was, "Yes, darling, those were silent movies." But there are more pitfalls for the stage actor, of course, than overindulgence in beans. Oh, yes. At every performance, one is walking through a positive minefield of things that can go wrong and make you look a right proper school. Oh, that's a Cockney rhyming slang for a fool, by the way. I bet you didn't know that. You see, I'm educating you. Oh, yes, I do try. Yes, all around one on stage are a positive plethora of things just waiting to trip you up, and there's nothing you can do about it, you see. No, you can't even be prepared because you don't know which one is going to do it, nor when they're going to do it. So you just have to assume that the whole lot of them are waiting to get you, just when you think how well the show's going, and then they muck it up. Again, they can't really get you in the TV studio or the film set. Their disruptive efforts are wasted when you're being filmed. You just say some suitable expletives and you do it again. But on stage, live, in front of an audience, oh, they've got you right where they want you. No, nobody shouts cut. There's no reshoot, so no audience will ever see the right proper dog's dinner you made of the scene. Everybody saw it. Yes, lovey, you've been caught with your knickers down, so to speak. On stage, one must assume that the props and the scenery and just about everything else have got together and they made some devious plans to ruin your night. Or your afternoon, if it's a matinee. You see, there's the gun that doesn't fire. Oh, yes, it goes click. So you have to beat your victim to death with the butt or the sword that either gets stuck and it won't come out at all, or just the hilt comes out. Oh, and you look a right Charlie standing there weaponless while the other chap still has a weapon, especially if you're supposed to kill him. The only way out of that, really, is for him to be very sporty, drop his own sword, and then you both have a sort of Hong Kong Kung Fu movie punch-up. Then there's the phone that rings when it shouldn't. Or even worse, it doesn't ring when it should, and you have to answer it anyway, as if you're clairvoyant, and you knew it was going to ring, and perhaps your spidey senses told you, no, the phone's going to ring. Hello, oh yes, it was ringing, yes. Very realistic, that. The stupid prop is a right old pain up the carry the pass, I can tell you. Like some beautiful craftwork wooden goblets. Oh, they were totally boner. They were lovely, always lovely wooden goblets, yes. Except for the fact that they were tapered. Yeah, so the bottom was very tiny and the top was very wide. And of course, when you filled something like that up with a liquid, you can see where this is going, I'm quite sure. I had the misfortune to have to bring them on, supposedly filled with wine, with red lemonade actually, on a sort of serving tray in the final scene of Hamlet. I had to walk with little baby steps, almost holding my breath, because the slightest movement of the tray caused them all to fall over. You see, they were designed to look ever so pretty, and they did. Oh, they were lovely, oh, they were really lovely, but they weren't actually designed to contain liquid substances. More than once, some of them did fall over and spilled, and I had to grab one and hold it on the tray to make sure at least one of the damn things made it to the royal dais where sat the king and the queen. Otherwise, the queen would have had to die from the poison cup without ever actually drinking anything out of it, which would, really lose a bit of realism, one might say. Then there's the missing prop. Oh, the missing prop. And it's always the one that is vital to the plot. Oh yes, it's never one that doesn't really matter. No, God, no, that wouldn't do it at all. The Deep Blue Sea by Terence Rattigan, in which I played Sir William Collier, and I had to reach into a waste paper basket and pull out an empty whiskey bottle, accusing my wife of being an alcoholic. Oh, look, you're drinking again, Hester. Look at this. Disgraceful. Well, I reached down very dramatically to show the evidence. No bottle. Oh, bugger, what am I going to do now? Go over and sniff her like, you're drinking again, aren't you? Yes, I'm sure the audience were wondering why I was feeling around in the waste paper basket. Then I spotted a glass on a table on the other side of the stage. So thinking quickly, I was awfully good, you see, as I've already mentioned. I walked across the stage, dramatically picked up the glass, sniffed it. Oh, you're drinking again, Hester. I saved the day. But that's not the worst missing prop I encountered. Oh, no. There was one that almost brought a play to a stop. Well, actually it did, for a bit. Lady Windermere's Fan by Oscar Wilde. I was playing Parker the butler. The play opens with the butler announcing Lord Darlington come to visit Lady Windermere. He enters and he comments on a lovely fan lying on a side table. And the dialogue goes like this. "Oh, what a wonderful fan! May I look at it?" "Oh, do. Pretty, isn't it? It's got my name on it and everything. I have only just seen it myself. It's my husband's birthday present to me. You know today is my birthday?" "No, is it really?" "Yes, I'm of age today." That's how it goes on. This scene is vital to the plot. The play can't happen without it, because the fan is the reason for everything that followed. That is probably why the play isn't called Lady Windermere's Necklace or Lady Windermere's Hat. It's called Lady Windermere's Fan for a reason. I was standing in the wings of Dublin's Gate Theatre, having just buttled Lord Darlington onto the stage, when he said, "Oh, do excuse me, Lady Windermere, I forgot to pay my cab. I'll be back in a moment." And he started to come off the stage. Now, when an actor says something like that isn't part of the script, and he starts to come off the stage, then you know there's a problem. He came into the wings and he was not happy. "Where's the fan?" Well, he actually put it more bluntly than that, but I've removed the expletives for the sake of decency and YouTube regulations. "Isn't it on the table?" said the stage director. "If it was on the bloody table, would I be here looking for it?" he said. That was rather obvious when you think about it. Again, expletives have been removed. Well, talk about headless chickens running around. We were like a whole farmyard full of headless chickens. Instant panic, no fan, no play. We were all scurrying around searching for the errant fan. "Find it, I'll bring it back on," said Lord Darlington, which would have been fine. He could have made up a line about having found it on the hall table or something, if, of course, we could find it, which we couldn't. Lady Windermere is now alone on the stage with nobody to play the scene with, so she starts wandering around the stage, arranging flowers in a vase, which didn't need arranging, adjusting a picture hanging on the wall, which didn't really need adjusting, but she had to do something, while humming a little tune, interspersed with appealing glances into the wings, where she could see all of us running around looking for the flaming fan. Lord Darlington went back on stage, fanless, of course. I mean, he couldn't leave her out there adjusting pictures and arranging flowers forever. She'd already arranged all the flowers 3 times and adjusted all the pictures a couple of times too. But they couldn't play the scene without the fan, since the dialogue totally revolved around the fan, and that set everything in motion. Now they started ad-libbing something. "Lovely weather we're having, isn't it?" "Yes, simply marvellous. I thought the Queen looked very well at Ascot." "Oh, she did indeed, yes." They're trying maybe to work the conversation around to birthdays with or without the fan. But at that moment, the fan was located. Let joy be unconfined. We had the fan. But you see, that was the problem. We had the fan in the wings, but that was sweet Fanny Adams' use to the actors on stage, where it was supposed to be. I, of course, must take credit for saving the day. Yes, my modesty forbids me labouring that point too much, but, you'll get the idea. I was the butler, so I grabbed a silver serving tray. I put the fan on it, and I walked onto the stage. "Do excuse me, Lady Windermere, but this has just been left for you." "Oh, thank you, Parker," said she, with a very noticeable expression of relief on her face. Took the fan, I put the tray under my arm, and I buttled off, and Lord Darlington said, "What a wonderful fan! May I look at it?" And the play continued. Yes, saved by the butler. Who else? Stage furniture can join the prop plot to make an actor look a total wally, too. The King of the Castle, by Eugene McCabe, Abbey Theatre, 1970s. There was a set representing the inside of a large old country house. 2 canvas flats, as they're called, which are set on trucks. They were sort of a pallet on wheels for easy moving, is what a truck is. And these showed the back wall of an Irish country house, internal wall of the house, that is. And at each side there was a wall with a door in it. In one scene, a number of us were sitting at this long trestle table, workmen having their lunch, though the set behind us was obviously the inside of a room, so why we were having lunch with our big trestle table thingy inside the house, it was quite beyond me. And as if that wasn't strange enough, when our dialogue was done, we would lift up the table, turn it on its side, fold the trestles, and exit through a door in the side flat. It's a very unworkmanlike thing to do, if you ask me, but oh well. As the table and us went off, scenery was lowered from the flies for the next scene. Now the flies, that's the area up above the stage. There aren't any actual flies buzzing around up there. That's where the so-called flying scenery and some of the lighting is kept up there. So one night, I will never forget it. I have tried, unsuccessfully. When we turned the table on its side, one of the trestles jammed in the open position. Our only way off the stage was a 3-foot wide door, and we now had a 4-foot wide table. 3 into 4 simply won't go, and neither would the table. We couldn't get off the stage. The side flats, you see, went right down to the proscenium arch. That's that sort of big sort of arch thingy at the front of the stage. So we couldn't get off that way. And there was the scenery starting to lower from the flies, and actors waiting in the wings to start the next scene. But there we were with a 20-foot-long table slap bang in the middle of the stage. Now there were voices of what might be termed considerable discontent, you could say, aimed in our direction, coming from off stage. "Don't just stand there, gawking at it. Get that bloody table off!" Expletives again deleted for the sake of decency. We, in a stage whisper that could still be heard all around the auditorium. "What do you think we're doing? Admiring the view? The leg's stuck. Well, unstick it. Will you come out here and see how you get on?" Flying scenery was dangling above our heads like the sword of Damocles, waiting to descend. Agitated actors, to say nothing of the stage director, who was having a hysterical fit by this time, was shouting at us in very unfriendly terms. "Get bloody well off. We're trying to get on." "Well, you can't get on till we get off, can you, duckies? You'll just have to wait, won't you?" Then we had an idea. Well, actually, I had the idea, but modesty prevents me saying too much about that. Oh, I just did, didn't I? Oh, well, rather obvious, I suppose. The tabletop was almost the same width as the door. So if we turned the table right way up and started pushing it through the doorway, we would be able to get off. A sigh of relief from the eager, anxious throng in the wings was audible as we started to make our belated exit. The scenery started to descend, and the highly unamused actors readied themselves to start the next scene. They were starting to come on the stage all timed so that they and the next scene scenery would arrive on stage as the last of us, with the table, left it. Oh, we were going ever so well. Yes, sliding the table through the door. Yes, with like a quarter of an inch clearance each side. Marvellous. It was like a house on fire. But unfortunately, the table was one of those rustic kind. You know, they're not really the same width all the way along. About half of it went through when it stopped, stuck fast in the doorway. Now the scenery jerked to a stop above us, just hanging there, sort of slowly going to and fro. The actors just stepping onto the stage went into reverse and disappeared into the wings. You must bear in mind that whilst this unfortunate incident was unfolding, which had already been going on for well over 5 minutes, there are over 400 people sitting in the auditorium watching it and trying to figure out the relevance of it, the relevance to the plot, which was, of course, zero. Though I think there were quite a few by that time who had realized that this probably wasn't in the script. Now we shoved the table, we pushed it, we kicked it, but it just sat there, firmly implanted in the doorway. 10 feet of table and us on the stage, and no way off. It was, figuratively speaking, laughing at us. Indignant voices from the wings were urging us, rather rudely, I must be said, to get the so-and-so blankety-blank censored table off the so-and-so blankety-blank censored stage. Oh, so crude, really, really terribly crude. So we had to think, and we came up with a plan. Well, when I say we, I think you can guess who had to think. Yeah, anyway, we would all push in unison. Yes, and that's what we did all together. 1, 2, 3, push! Oh, it worked splendidly. The table started to move. Oh, yes, it moved. Yes, it moved. Unfortunately, so did the flat, which was on wheels, of course. Yes, I hadn't seen that one coming, but we certainly saw it going. So did the audience, as we exited, taking half an Irish country house with us, stuck on the table. So half the set vanished into the wings, leaving the backstage area completely visible, along with a few astonished stagehands who now found themselves part of the scene. But at least the scenery could now be lowered, the actors could come on, and the next scene could continue, albeit in what was now half a room. Sadly, one has to admit that any suggestion of the pathos and the drama the author intended had exited with the table and half of the house. They say never work with children or animals, but I think perhaps recalcitrant trestle tables to be added to that list. Yes, there are times an actor's life isn't a happy one, at least when you're on stage. So, with that, let the curtain descend on this tale of thespian cock-ups. Bring up the house lights. The show is at an end. Goodbye for now.